because I got this little clock, man, that I put out there. It's
Uh
going
huh.
it's going count down 5 minutes, get some people time to come on, like that.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
So am my camera ready, brother?
yeah, you camera ready, bro. Just make sure you keep your head in the frame. So
Okay. Okay.
yeah, like that. So
Just trying to manage this cooking, man. So,
yeah, yeah.
but I'm almost done. So,
I can see where it's counting down. I'm down to 4 minutes, 3 minutes actually, 3 minutes. maybe uplift, that kind of thing like that. So, let's see what's going to happen, like today. Like I said, I'm going to wait around a few more minutes and hopefully, get some guests on tonight. But, you know, just got to wait and see what's happening. Hold on, let me see here. Hey, Steve, you there?
Yes, sir. I'm here. How you doing, man?
All right, man. How you doing today?
Good, good, good.
Good, good, good. I see you out there in Texas. What's going on out there in Texas, my brother?
Well, Texas is a big state, man. One thing I can say about San Antonio, the weather here is gorgeous, man. Today it's a little chilly. It's only 58 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but yesterday and the day before was like 69, 70, 71.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, it was gorgeous yesterday. I went out for a walk. But yeah, the weather here is, man, especially during the winter months, is fantastic.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. Hey, you know, we're gonna talk about this insurrection for a minute. See what's going on. You know,
Yes, sir.
how people out there feeling about it? Have you got any feedback from people out there?
Well, not really any feedback. I will say here, I haven't been home to DC since November, so I don't know what the mask wearing policy is there. But here, people here are a little more freer with not wearing masks. Um, so Texas is a little different than the DC area.
So you wearing yours though?
Oh yes, sir. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
sir. It's
Mm-hmm.
a requirement, especially at work.
Oh, okay.
And it's my job to make sure that others at work are wearing theirs.
Oh,
So
okay. Okay.
yeah,
So you sort of
but
like policing folks then a little bit, huh?
well, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Especially at work. It's where I work is right at the on the river walk, so it's pretty much downtown on the weekends. During the week it's a little slow, but the weekends down here, people come out. I guess they're tired of being shut up in the house, so they come down to the river walk, and it gets pretty busy down here.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's the climate that the people have down here is that they're going to do, and pretty much I guess everywhere they're going to do what they want to do. So you have I would probably say a split or 60-40 with the mask wearing.
Oh, okay. 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 Hey, I know we talked about the insurrection earlier, what's going on out here in DC and what happened down at the Capitol, like and everything like that. And we got a discussion on one situation where it was a black man, a young black man. I got to look up his name, but he is still the only one that's locked up after you know the investigation around a group of people, and he was the only one that's still locked up while everybody else is at home on house arrest. you
Yeah.
know uh what's your feeling on that, man?
Well, my feeling is that they're going to make an example of him. Um, the thing is, why should he be the only one that's still incarcerated and the other ones are free to go? I don't know the current status of the individual that was sitting behind Nancy Pelosi's desk with his feet up on the desk. I don't know if he's still locked up or at home. But I did hear on the news sources reporting the young lady who stole Nancy's laptop with official government documents on it and things like that, and that was going to sell it to Russia. Um, she has been released to her mom on house arrest. So my thing is, what did this other guy do? The black individual that you brought up, what did he do that is causing them to continue to keep him arrested?
Well, like they're saying that he hit an officer with a metal bat, you know.
Well,
But I mean, I would even think, yeah, that's kind of bad,
yeah,
but also uh, threatening to sell uh, U.S. government documents to the Russians is bad too. So
treason. Yeah,
yes, and
it's treason.
yeah, and that's you know. I mean, I don't know what kind of offense is that, but it seems like it's a big one to me. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Like I said, it seems like they're trying to prove a point or to make an example out of this man. But like I said, you have people that, well, they're still, I don't know if they had caught the individual that who hit the um, Capitol Police with the fire extinguisher, the one that,
Oh wow, yeah. I don't know if they ever going to catch that person. You know,
yeah, yeah. Um,
because so many people, and I don't know if they had really had any footage on that.
Yeah.
You know.
I had heard, I guess a week ago now, they had a lead on a person
Uh huh.
that they thought that who had did it. But I haven't heard anything else more about that. But yeah, I'm just trying to figure out what he did, the black guy,
Right.
what he did that was so much different. Like you said, I understand that he hit a cop with a bat, but soon as they broke into the Capitol, they were all guilty, you know.
Right. 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 And I'm just like really looking to see what this outcome is going to be because even news on CNN, they had mentioned that if it was a bunch of black folks going in there, what would have happened? You
Oh
know,
yeah. It,
I feel as though it would have been a massacre. You
oh yeah.
know,
It would
it
have
would
been
have been it would have definitely been some bodies laid out somewhere.
yeah.
And
Yeah, it would have been a total different outcome, man. I mean, it's hard to believe that it's 2021 and we're dealing with domestic terrorism. Matter of fact, today I was watching NBC news source, and they were saying that the Senate is seeking additional security for when they travel and when they go home, which is understandable based on how far the groups that went down to the Capitol got. And they even had a couple individuals who had the tie straps
uh-huh.
and said that they were going to handcuff and take some of the Senate as hostages. So
Right.
that's pretty scary.
Mhm. Mhm. And like I do find that like scary and crazy during these times, man, that we have to like go through that. It's like the United States is like split in half.
Yeah, yeah,
It's like the system that we have is on the crust of failing. You know,
yeah. Well,
and
not on the crust. It has failed.
yeah, you know, and that's kind of scary, man.
Yeah,
Cause you look what's all involved in that. I mean,
yeah,
if it fails, like that's people livelihoods, their money, like everything like that. The whole system that supported you is all gone, and
yeah,
and and
yeah,
and how does a person, like if that happens, get that back? You know,
yeah.
So
And it's hard uh, to understand that or think that you may need law enforcement and call law enforcement, and they're part of one of these groups.
right,
So
right,
you know what your outcome is going to be, and they've proven that with the insurrection at the Capitol. They're saying that some of the police there, the Capitol Police, were a part of that.
right,
Even that one police officer taking a selfie with the group. They showed them um, uh, letting the crowd through, you know, um, And then you had the one black officer who was smart enough to lure the crowd away because he recognized that some of the doors were still unlocked
Mm-hmm.
to the Senate chambers.
Right, right.
Yeah,
And yeah, he definitely put his life on the line,
he definitely
for that.
did.
Because
Yeah,
it was a lot of people, like chasing him. You know.
yeah. 'Cause they first aired the story, I couldn't understand the optics of that with him, running up the steps, and because most people, when you first saw that story of him running, it was like, he's I don't know, but now we know the story behind that, why he was doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but yeah, but like you said earlier, if it was a different crowd, man,
Yeah.
if it was like me, it would have been a different outcome.
And,
You know.
and it's funny, man. I listened to this guy speak last night. Only listened to an hour. I heard the
Hmm.
person was on, like for about 3 hours last night, talking about what's going on. But he gave you a little history. He went back
Okay.
to like the 1900s,
Right.
and
Right.
like from what I can gather, like in 1912, in Philadelphia, um, you know, blacks were really, starting to get into their own community, buying
Hmm.
homes, had banks. But
Yep.
you had, like, I don't know if you want to call them, I don't know what you want to call them, but white people would go in and destroy these people homes, burn down the banks, and even hang and burn black people.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
so it's like the same thing is going on, but in a different kind of way, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, you would think by being 2021 we would be a lot further than what we are, but we're not, man. We're not at all.
Yeah,
You
and I mean, I think that, what happened just shows that,
know?
and to me, that will open my eyes and say, hey, we need to come together more as a community,
Yeah,
and work together, like to build the things, because we're really trying to be in their pot. You know what I
right,
mean? Where we
right,
need our own pot to be in.
right.
You know,
That's right. That's
you,
right.
so I find that, like to be, that's the direction that we really should go in our leadership. I'm like, where is our leadership to do that?
Right.
And I look at it like this. I mean, and don't get me wrong when I say this about, like Trump, but Trump has formed a following.
Oh, big following.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, this man, over 70 million people have voted for him.
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah,
and what Biden got 80 million. I
yeah,
mean, that's tight.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
truthfully,
yeah.
and that's
Some,
that's really divided.
yeah, for someone who has never been in politics before, I'm talking about Trump. Um, he had a lot of people come out and vote for him. He had a lot of people to come out and vote for you. And like you said, that's over 70. I think it was like 71 million.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that's a lot of followers. That's a lot of followers. But
yes.
and what's even scarier is that uh, they will do whatever he tells them to do. You know,
Hmm.
um, almost like a cult following.
Right. So to me, I mean, we need to come together. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, even in areas where, and I'm from Philadelphia, you from DC,
Mhm.
you see the same thing, gentrification
Yep.
in your cities and stuff like that, and how come that can happen? You know,
Well,
really, I mean, you could, man, it's places in North Philadelphia where you can't even live no more because you
right,
can't
right,
afford to live there.
right. Well, that's going on in most major metropolitan cities. Like I said, DC had the title for a long time of the chocolate city.
Right.
And as you know, that is not the case anymore.
Right.
Where I live in DC, it was drug infested.
Mm-hmm.
Um, DC doesn't have gangs; they have areas. Okay,
Mm.
and probably as early as the or latest, I'm sorry, up to the early '90s, mid '90s.
Mm-hmm.
If you didn't know anybody in that neighborhood, you didn't just go in that neighborhood.
Right. Right. Right.
I can remember seeing the change. Um, it was probably about, I want to say 2000. I can remember going down to U Street to a jazz club, um, and I came out one morning, probably about 1:30 in the morning. The club was shutting down. It was a jazz club, real nice.
Mm-hmm.
It's on. I cannot remember the name of it. It actually is still there. I don't know if it's under the same ownership. But anyway, I came out 1:30 in the morning and I saw this white lady walking down U Street, walking a poodle.
Mm.
And I was saying to myself, and if anybody know any Washingtonian will tell you, U Street in the '80s, well, probably since Martin Luther King was killed in the riots of '68, um, U Street didn't bounce back and probably till about when they put the metro down there. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
the exact year, but U Street was another area you just didn't wander to. Okay,
Right.
uh, more so even think about living in that area. And now look at U Street, $1 million properties and things like that.
Right.
Even where,
Restaurants, all kinds of restaurants on
yeah,
U
yeah,
Street.
yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah,
clubs, everything like that. You know,
yeah.
that's the place to be now. U
Oh yeah,
Street.
that is the place to be. That is
Right.
the place.
Right.
Um, and really even stretching across the river to the south side.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like I said, how did it happen? The only thing I can say is money. Um, People come in and they buy politicians, um, these big developers, and even Berry Farm, the housing project.
Oh yeah, Barry Farms is it's not Barry Farms anymore, man.
Right, right.
Mm-mm.
And like I said, anybody from DC knows the history behind Berry Farms, but
Right.
a lot of people didn't know that Berry Farms um, was the land was donated uh, Asbury Farms from Howard University. Okay,
Okay.
and now they have they call that waterfront property.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, um, even down at the wharf in Southwest.
Wow, the wharf is
You know,
like million dollars.
yeah, yeah. The
Easy.
average person cannot live, well, can't afford to come in DC. Period. Now,
Right.
can't even come in DC. Period. We sold our family home probably about 2 years ago, and my dad got over $400,000
Mm-hmm.
uh, for the home that we grew up in.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, the average person starting out in life cannot afford to live in DC anymore. You know,
Yes, and
and then
all the high rises and everything coming up now.
it's unbelievable, man. I live down near New York Avenue,
Mm-hmm.
and my wife called me. Well, she calls me every day, but she would tell me they're building a new complex from Eckington Place, Northeast, where the big FedEx uh, plant is, all the way back to Harry S. Thomas Drive, where the railroad tracks run over there off of New York Avenue. And they are building condos right there on the corner of Quincy and Eckington Place. And there was an article in the news, Washington Post, I guess last week, saying, given the prices of that development, a parking space is going for $45,000.
Ooh,
That
$45,000 for a
that you
parking space.
that used to be the price of a house,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what they're getting for a parking space now. Um, I think the minimum that you can purchase a condo in this new development is $300,000, and they go up. they go up to, and that's an efficiency, and it goes up to a couple $1,000,000. Now, what I'm saying is something is happening in DC with all this development that they're doing that we don't know about. You don't put that much money into building projects, even over in the Florida Avenue market. Okay, your wife can tell you the history behind that because she's from DC. Florida Avenue market was another area you did not go to. You just didn't haphazardly wander over there. Okay, now that's going to be known as Restaurant Row. Okay, they have they had it was called the market. Okay, I can remember going over there with my grandparents and then buying chitlins and pig feet and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
All that's gone, man. All that's gone. They have an outdoor movie theater. Okay, they have an outdoor movie theater at the farmers market over at Florida Avenue by Gallaudet.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah. I saw that because I don't work too far from there. Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
There's something definitely going on in DC with this development that a lot of people that we don't know. Something's going on with it. For them to build like that, they must be expecting a lot of people coming from somewhere.
Right.
You know.
And out of all that we've been talking about, it's all this development and everything going on like that. And how much is it going back to our community, the black community? You know?
Well, the thing is, um, these developers when they build these buildings, these apartment complexes, condos, they're supposed to set aside a certain amount for um, for the low income housing. Okay. Now, is anyone following up to make sure that that's what's going on? But yeah, part of the plea bargaining with the government is that when they build these new buildings, that they're supposed to set aside housing for low income housing. Okay, I don't
But
know what the percentage is, but they're supposed to be doing that.
but even so with that, like the low income, but I'm talking about, like black business developers. How
Right,
much how
right,
much is that money going to them? Or if
yeah,
any of it's going to them.
yeah,
You
yeah,
see what I'm saying?
yeah,
And that's what I feel like a lot of, you know, I mean, we always look at the glass full,
yeah.
but we need to start looking at this glass half full.
Half full,
And
yes,
there's some
sir.
opportunity in there because there's so many things that we as a community that we don't do,
Right,
or we scared to do because you got to have that little fight. I mean, I like to drink a beer every now and then, right?
right.
And I'm like, are there really any black beer companies out
Hmm,
here?
hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah,
So I'm looking. If you're looking at the glass half full, that's a business to come up with. Now, over the years, now I've heard of a couple companies, black companies that have been venturing into beer, like and stuff like that. Even alcohol. But we got to start looking at that in every area that's like available out here to us.
oh yeah,
Banking, you know, anything and everything out here. We got to look at it half full, and we got to get out here and start, creating our own economy.
yeah. And
Really.
you know who's good at that is the Jewish community.
Yes.
They they are very strong. I remember buying a property in Baltimore. Um, this the property was owned by this older Jewish gentleman. Come to find out, Courtney, he owned blocks of property. He bought them for a little bit of nothing, maybe two, three, $4,000, and he boarded them up. And at the time when I bought this property, it was probably about 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
He probably paid 3,000 for it at the most. he sold it to me for about I want to say about 75 or 80,000. I can't remember the exact
What?
number.
Get out of
But
here.
what I'm getting to is guess who was the closing attorney?
His
His
friend.
son.
His
His son.
son. His son.
They have a whole system set up.
Right.
They have a whole system set up. The Asians do the same thing.
Exactly.
I never forget when I used to work for Secret Service as a contract. I worked overnight. I worked downtown,
Mm-hmm.
and we get to work at 11 o'clock. We get to work at 11 o'clock. We were set up, and about midnight, uh, we would go out and get something to eat for the whole team and bring it back.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember this, man. I remember this so vividly. We went out one night, and the guy that was in the carryout, I said to him, I said, "Hey, I just saw you around the corner at the other one." He said, "Yeah, I own four of them around here. I own four of them around here, you
Right.
know." And the the Jewish community, the Asian community, they are strong in that where they come together, they pool their money, and they just make it happen,
Yeah,
you know.
and see that's what I don't understand. Like cause like when I grew up in Philadelphia, I mean, and you go down, like North Philly, whatever those corner stores and stuff
Yeah,
down there, like they might be owned by an Asian person or even a person that's like a non-black person,
right,
like
right.
what I'm saying non-black. I mean,
I
like somebody who came from, you know,
Middle Eastern, middle,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, Middle Eastern, like that. And
Hmm.
you go in the store and they not giving you any money back in your community. You see
Exactly.
they taking that money and putting it in their community.
Yep.
You
Yeah.
know? I
Don't
mean,
it don't it don't even respect you when you go in their store.
right.
Matter of matter of fact, I was walking last night, uh, and me and this young lady were having a conversation, and she went into where I live down here in San Antonio. It's a big commercial area, a lot of restaurants, a lot of nail salons, a lot of it's just a big commercial community. And she was saying she went and we walked by this one place. I don't remember it by name, and she said she went in to ask them some questions about their food, and the guy got smart with her. The guy behind the counter, which was an Asian guy, got smart with her.
Hmm.
And I told her then, I said, we have to learn the way you fix that problem is you stop going in and supporting them. Because when you go in and you use your dollars to buy their goods, they're not recycling that money in our community. They're sending it to their community.
Right.
So the only way that you can bring about change is stop spending your money in communities that don't respect you.
Right. Right. And I tell you another example, man, and this tripped me out because you know where I live now. I live in Lanham, and
Yeah,
close to Bowie and Mitchellville, all those places like that. But we have an influx of Spanish people, that's
right.
moving around. But you notice they're opening up stores, bakeries,
Yeah,
like everything like that. And I'm like,
yeah,
we just don't do that,
yeah.
you know.
I mean,
And,
even if you trace our history, if you go back, I don't know if your parents are still living, but if you go back and you ask your parents, your aunt, your uncles, the generation before us, because my dad used to tell me, he said, my dad actually lived up until November of
mm-hmm,
2020, 82 when he
mm-hmm,
passed. He was telling me when they first came here from South Carolina, um, it was his mom, his dad, it was seven of them, plus they had taken in two cousins.
mm-hmm.
So about 9 to 10 people living in a 3 bedroom house with one bathroom. And he was just laughing how now the I guess how the African American community uh, uh, gauges success is going out Mitchellville,
Right.
Rockville, big houses with 4 and 5 bathrooms,
Mm-hmm.
and it may be 2 or 3 people in the house. But back to what we were talking about our dollars, our community, and how why we can't do it. We can't even live together.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we can't. I can remember when I first got into real estate. I went to a house one time and I walked downstairs in the basement. Might have been 2 or 3 bedrooms in the basement. Do you know they had bunk beds bolted to the wall? They had like 6 people staying in each room.
Mm.
Now, what they would do is they lived together, they went out to work, they came back, they paid the mortgage, they paid the utilities, and whatever extra, they would start a business.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
they would start a business. Um, I don't want to sound like I'm giving up or I'm down on our people. But we have to go back to basics, man. We have to go back to learning how to live together first.
Mm-hmm. Right,
Um,
right, right. And that's a community issue. You know, like a lot of things that's going on in our community, the
yeah,
crime,
yeah,
you know, like that kind of thing, man. You know, and we killing young minds, man.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
and that's a terrible thing, man. You know,
yeah, yeah,
you know,
yeah.
we,
Yeah,
you know,
it is definitely is a terrible thing. But uh, what I'm saying, Colton, what I'm saying is a lot of single women trying to raise men, and it goes back to uh, what's the movie that was shot in Compton um,
oh yeah,
with
the
Ice
one with
Cube.
Ice Cube in it.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Boys,
remember?
Boys in the Hood. Was that Boys in the
Yeah,
Hood?
Boys in the Hood, Boys in the
Yeah,
Hood.
yeah, yeah.
And remember what's the guy's name, man? The actor now that uh
Ice Cube.
no, they played the father,
Oh, Lawrence Fishburne.
Lawrence Fishburne. Remember when
Yeah,
he took the neighborhood and talked about gentrification?
right.
And remember when his son kept getting trouble in school and he took over his son?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I think what's going on, I don't think it, I see it. I even had a case since I've been down here. Um, Women are raising boys and they can't raise men.
Mm-hmm.
And what's happening is a lot of these young guys are falling into the trap. I mean, I can remember my dad was in our house. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I consider myself turning out okay,
Mm-hmm.
because I had a strong role model. I had a strong father,
Right.
and certain things that I definitely couldn't do, certain things I may have got away with. But one thing I couldn't do was talk back to my mother.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
my father told me that he would kill me
Right.
if he ever caught me raising my voice or talking back to my mother. And
Mm-hmm.
like I said, my dad lived to be 82. And do you know that I still feared my dad as a
Right.
man?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Uh,
Right.
and what's happening is, like I said, our communities, man, are being weakened. Okay. And it goes back to even with the beginning of slavery, how they will remove the fathers from the home,
Right.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I had a guy down here, man. When I got here, I had hired a young black brother. Okay, his interview was set up for 11 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
He shows up at 1 minute to 11. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
1 minute to 11. So during the interview process, I told him I was up front with him. I was like, man, I shouldn't be giving you an interview because you were late. You were late. So we were talking to come to find out he's raised by a single mom
Mm-hmm.
brother. So when he came to the interview, I asked him why was he looking to leave the place of employment where he is now.
Mm-hmm.
Sir, I'm only getting like 10 hours a week. I need more hours. I said, okay, you flexible. You can work all shifts because I need somebody that can work all shifts. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I said, so what's going? Because he was in college. I think he was ready to go to grad school, law
Mm-hmm.
school. And I said, what about school? He said, well, right now I'm doing online learning, so it's not a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Long story short, what I'm getting to, um, this guy ended up quitting the job um, because he worked one overnight shift. He's 20. He was 23 years old. He texts me. This is how he walked away from the job. He texts me. He was supposed to come in that night at 11.
Mm-hmm.
He at like 9:30, saying that he couldn't come in. The overnight shift was destroying his body. I'm like, dude, you are 23 years old.
Right.
You don't have family. You don't have any children. What do you mean you can't? It's destroying your body.
Mm-hmm.
But me coming up, I couldn't do that. I couldn't walk away from no job, and
Right.
that's because I had a strong role model.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I saw my father work two jobs.
Right.
Okay, but back to our communities is that a lot of, and like I said, what's going on in our communities with crime and things like that. I'm sure you can relate to this, even though I tease you and say you're about 7 years older than me. But back in the day, if a neighbor saw you doing something wrong, they could correct you.
Right. Right.
Nowadays, you try that nowadays, right on your hands.
Right. Right.
If nowadays in 2021, man, if you see a neighbor down the street, a kid doing something wrong, and you say something to him, you better back it not more nine times out of 10, it's gonna be some kickback from that.
Right. Right. We
His
see,
mother, his father.
we see it every day, man. And and,
Yeah,
and, and and that's and see that's another thing I think that's destroying, like some of the minds out here is that uh this stuff that we see on TV, this
yeah,
ratchet
yeah,
TV,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know, the
Uh,
first thing they want to do is fight instead
yeah.
of coming up with some kind of conflict resolution. I talk
Well,
about that all the time. We need conflict resolution in our
yeah,
communities, and not thinking the first thing you do is pull out a gun or
right,
have to have your fists, you
right,
know, like that.
right.
We just got to change, man.
Well, and back to Boys in the Hood. If you remember, the ending of the movie was the single mom that lived across the street from Lawrence Fishburne. Her son was Ice Cube, and the
Right.
other who's a famous actor now. He ended up getting killed in the alley, and then after the movie went off and the credits were rolling, it showed you that Ice Cube ended up getting killed two
Right.
weeks later.
Right.
But but the guy, I can't remember, he's a famous actor too. The guy that was raised by Lawrence Fishburne,
Right. Cuba Gooding Jr. Yes.
Cuba Jr., ended up being okay. You see what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
Yeah.
So that's a prime example of what I'm saying. I'm not saying it's 100% for sure. If your dad's in the household, nothing's gonna happen to you. But that's a great example. And like I said, that movie touched on a lot of things that we're talking about: gentrification,
Right.
uh, crime in our communities. And but like I said, I really believe that the thing is that we have got to learn how to live together, man. First of all,
Right. Right.
and like you said, this everybody wants to be a gangster, man. I don't understand it.
Right. 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 Right.
I
And,
I don't understand it, man.
yeah. And what's crazy is that like I'm not saying I never was in a gang. Don't get me
Right,
wrong. I mean,
right,
people, like the first thing, like when you tell a person you from Philly, they look at you, you Philly, like cause everywhere Philly's supposed to be bad,
yeah,
terrible, cause when I was growing up, we had gangs, man,
right, right,
serious gangs, man.
yeah,
Sometimes, man, when I caught the bus, man, I had to be looking out, just
right,
to catch the next bus, but
yeah,
I never
What-
was I never was associated, like with any gangs
right,
or
right,
anything like that, man. But
yeah,
you know, I mean, even then, man, we just gotta. I mean, well, this is where I'm going. Like my children, I mean, I have a son, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying he's not a bad kid. He's a good kid. I mean, I don't have no problems with him. But I feel like this. I said, like they try to be into the music and
Mm-hmm.
all
Mm-hmm.
that kind of stuff, and like
Mm-hmm.
being tough and everything
Yeah,
like that, man. I'm like, man, if I took you down there where I'm from,
yeah. You wouldn't
man,
last a minute.
you ain't really gonna last, man. So
Right,
it
right,
ain't no need of faking it.
right.
You see what I'm saying? Cause you fake it, you gonna run into some trouble.
You're gonna run into some trouble.
Run
Yep.
into some trouble, man. And I mean, I just don't. That's the part that I mean. Some of these rappers out here, they ain't from the hood.
Nope. Nope. Nope.
You
Nope.
look at a person like Jay Z. Jay Z trying to get out the hood.
Right. He trying to get out the hood. Yeah. Yeah.
he ain't trying to stay in no hood. Matter of
Right.
fact,
Right.
he even bringing up a couple of his boys that was in the hood.
Yeah.
They ain't trying to live like that. You know.
Yeah. It's yeah, it's amazing. Like you said, the ones that lived in the hood. I was looking at there was a documentary on uh not too long ago. I must have seen it before I came down here, and I came down here in like July.
Hmm.
But anyway, what's my man from New Orleans? Um,
Oh, what Master P?
Master P.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
Master P talked about when I think he was from the Fifth Ward. Okay,
Hmm.
how brutal, how bad the area and neighborhood was, and how he lost a brother to violence. And but anyway, what I'm saying is he's doing everything he can do uh, to get out of that environment.
Right.
But like you said, this is what they see on TV. They think it's cool, man, walking around. And you know damn well. Did you grow up with your dad in the house?
Uh, Mostly, my
Oh,
parents separated when I was 15, but yeah, mostly my pop was
okay.
there.
Okay.
Hmm.
Well, what I'm saying, even back to what I was saying about when we came up, if you were doing something wrong, your neighbor could correct you.
Amen.
You know damn well, I know I couldn't come in the house walking around with no pants hanging off my ass.
You're
Okay.
right.
You and like I said, where did that come from? It comes from the penitentiary life. But they think it's cool. And it's not cool, man. It's not cool at all.
Right.
It's cool. But if you say something to them, you run the risk of getting shot or stabbed or jumped or
Yeah, and
So
I'm not even gonna say that, man. It just goes in one ear and out the other, bro.
yeah, yeah. But now I guess we shouldn't give up on all of them because we may be able to save one life if we're able to communicate and continue. Um, who knows? Maybe it'll save one.
Right, 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 right. And that's
Yeah.
why, like, that's why, like, I do this, man. I want to do this, man, because I want to talk about these kind of things, man. So,
Everyday problem.
right,
Everyday problem.
right, right, right.
Yeah.
And look, I'm gonna shut this down for now, but I'm gonna have you back, man, because
Okay.
I
Well,
think what's that?
I said thank you for having me,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah, yeah. And I mean, I really want to get back and talk about this, man. You
Okay.
know, but and I'm gonna post this on YouTube, and so people can see it, man. But I mean, this is the kind of stuff that we have to talk about in our communities,
Yes,
and
sir.
just come together and build
Yeah.
something,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and that's what I'm trying to do.
Okay. Well,
That's
I'm here for you, man. I'm here for
yeah,
you. So let
yeah.
me know when you want to have me back, and I'll be glad to be back.
Yeah.
Okay.
And matter of fact, man, I'm truthfully, man, I might try to have you back next week so we could
Okay.
continue to talk about this.
Yes,
All
sir.
right.
Yes.
You know,
Well,
so
whatever. Whatever we can do to better our community, man, I'm with you.
Yeah, because you know what, man, I wanna set an example
Yeah.
because you know, like maybe we could get together on a project
Right. Right.
and show that we could work together on a project
Yes,
and get
sir.
something done. You know, just an example because I mean, you can't do it by yourself.
No, you cannot.
You
No, you
know, you
cannot.
can't do it by yourself. So,
No.
um, I want to get people like you with like minds and everything
Yeah.
like that, man, to
Yeah.
show an example that we
Yeah.
could do these things, man.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I appreciate you coming, and I'll get with you a little later. Thank you,
Yes,
brother
sir.
Hudgens.
All right. Thank you for having me, Courtney. Thank
All
you
right.
very much.
Mm-hmm.
All right, sir. Have a good evening.
You too.
All right.
Hey, so look, I'm back. I'm getting ready to close this out. I appreciate everything. I appreciate you listening to the show. Um, and hey, until